Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This time we're on episode 14 of Season 3, titled Watchdogs. Last time, we had a spy's goodbye. We had a spy's very, very tearful and emotional goodbye in Parting Shot. We had to say goodbye to Hunter and Bobby. Hunter and Bobby ran into a very, very straining and stressful dilemma after Bobby was witnessed actually killing a Russian government official, and Hunter was captured elsewhere with the president and stuff. So it was a situation where the president had to call in Interpol and get his own hands a little bit grubby, and Shield couldn't really actually take any credit for what was going on, because Shield is still meant to be like a secret thing, and if they did, then it would confirm that American people committed a crime on Russian soil, and that would spark a whole new war that they were just not prepped for in any way. So the only thing, Coulson came up with the solution that he could actually take them off the grid and stuff, but then that would actually mean bringing in Shield and putting the team at risk. So Bobby and Hunter just said, you know what, we will just pretend that we're just two people on vacation, and just that we were somehow had the skill set for this, and we got involved and things went awry and stuff like that. So they had to go forth looking over their shoulder, because both the US and the Russian government will be watching their every move from now on, just waiting for them to slip up. But they had to cut ties with S.H.I.E.L.D. They had to cut ties with S.H.I.E.L.D. and prove that they actually weren't with them at all to begin with. So it was a very, very emotional episode. A very emotional ending. A very, very emotional ending. And I think it kind of, again, it felt somewhat strange for me, because though they had both kind of expressed their own kind of issues with working with S.H.I.E.L.D., having to deal with powers and having their own kind of injuries and their own different disadvantages in this line of work, neither of them had actually fully expressed any kind of actual need or desire to leave S.H.I.E.L.D. So it hit me harder, because I just wasn't really expecting them to run into a situation like this. So it definitely feels more like this is something they have to do, as opposed to something that as opposed to something their characters are ready for. So it was a very, very hard-hitting episode in that sense. But life moves on. Life moves on for us as the audience and the rest of the characters as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Honestly, Spy's Goodbye will easily go down as one of the most emotional scenes to ever come out of this show. One of the most emotional scenes. The acting is on point. The acting, no lines from anyone except for Bobby and Hunter. No lines from anyone except for Bobby and Hunter. Just facial expressions. The music, Bear McCreary. That man just knows how to actually, play with your feelings. He knows how to play with your feelings like a guitar. If he had a guitar, he would pretend it was your heart and just, strum up a really emotional kind of tune. That's what he would do. The music, the acting, the lack of anything, really big and stuff was just, it made it all perfect. It made it all perfect. The Spy's Goodbye, it's a really, really beautiful concept too. Like, no words spoken, just raise a shot glass, drink, and, part ways and stuff. It's all in the silence. It's literally all in the silence. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to move on from Spy's Goodbye, but we have no choice. We have to continue with the show. So, yeah, farewell to Hunter and Bobby. So that happened. So we had that, and then right at the end of the episode, we were introduced to Malik's daughter. Malik is a father. He has a daughter who is also presumably a part of Hydra, a part of the original kind of cultish Hydra, as opposed to the new, the one spawned from World War II and stuff. So yeah, so she's aware of all the stuff going on. She's aware of the Inhuman alien god thing that they've brought over here. She's aware of the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra feud and everything. She's aware of it all. She's aware of it all. So I am curious to see what kind of role she'd play. So yeah, she's really cute, so it's going to be hard to root against her. But, if she kills someone, then I have no choice. It's going to be really easy to root against her. But, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, these days, they make villains really hot. Villains really, really hot, so in some cases, in Malik's case, that's just really not all that applicable. But but yeah, you guys know what I mean. You guys know kind of what I mean. Even in Ward's case, even in this new Hydra Ward's case, it's definitely not applicable. But yeah. Yeah, again, it's gonna be. I mean, knowing she's Hydra, it's gonna be easy to root against her. But then up until she does something especially evil or hazardous or something, then it's gonna be somewhat difficult to root against her. But we'll see. We'll see what the show gives us. We'll see what kind of path the show takes us down. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from the last one. So on to episode 14. Once again, as always, this will be the highlight reel. So if you guys want to catch the full-length reaction to the episode, completely unedited, then that'll be over on Patreon, so you can go see that over there. But yeah, that is it. So episode 14. Let's go. I wish we could have gotten that pilot. I've heard about that TV show thing that they were going to do, Marvel's Most Wanted or something. I wish they would have actually gone forward with that. Yeah. There's a lot of Marvel shows that they can go forward now with Disney Plus on the rise. There's a lot they can do.
We're the Watchdogs.
Oh, these are the Watchdogs.
Let's go!
Are those paintball guns? No, they're not. Oh, no, far from it. Holy crap.
This is awesome.
That's like the pin particle stuff. It shrinks. Is it like the pin particle stuff? Jesus, a lot more than an internet troll group. An actual active terrorist group.
Well, should we bring Lincoln with us? With Bobby Hunter gone, we can use all the help.
Lincoln's gonna sit this one out. You and Fitz go ahead.
Oh.
Meet up with Mac, then report back to me.
Did his evaluation not go well?
Okay.
Or maybe because it's the Watchdogs, they want as few aliens around as possible. Maybe.
The residue from the bombs. It's got nitramine in it.
Nitramine, the stuff from Agent Carter.
Your voice makes it sound bad.
Yeah.
Howard Stark developed it after World War II.
Yeah,
It
the stuff
causes
from.
implosions.
Oh, that implosion. Okay, not pin particles,
Well,
nitramine.
They
Okay.
got their hands on it. Sodium.
Hydrogen acetate.
Neutralizes nitrogen.
Okay. Thank you, Nerd Herd. I'm gonna go call Coulson.
Do we take this debris back
Hey,
with us?
Daisy's a bit of a nerd too, being a hacker and all.
Yeah, sure. Because it weighs like 100,000 tons.
Jesus.
It's a building.
Call Captain America. Or the Hulk.
So-
Call the Hulk.
Are you saying this could be a SHIELD agent?
The SHIELD agent you've met. A good man.
SHIELD.
But he went off the grid when he got out of the hospital. After Deathlock broke his spine.
Oh,
Nice work out
him!
there, boys.
Agent something. I forgot his name.
Felix Blake.
Agent Blake.
I've got a new plan of attack. And it's a good one.
They're being led by Blake?
And since I'm practically the only woman here who can't kill with her bare hands...
Listen to me. That wasn't your fault.
Gemma's strong, and she's capable. She came close with that splinter bomb thing when she killed Bakshi. She came close with that, but
What
seeing
makes
her
them go
handle a
from
gun
anonymous
is
trash
just...
talking online.
Domestic terrorism?
But I'm not so sure you should be using yours to sidestep civil liberties.
They gave up their right to civil liberties when they started imploding buildings.
Maybe, but it's not about how they act. It's about how we respond.
Okay, Fitz. You're with me.
Am I?
You didn't say anything about my evaluation, so, it just seemed like you weren't happy with what you saw.
I'm not,
Oh.
but I want to see it for myself.
Ah, okay, he wants first-hand proof. Yeah, a piece of paper isn't enough for Coulson. He wants first-hand proof.
There's a test at every turn. I mean, this is a test.
This is a chance for me to see for myself how you handle
Oh,
things.
same thing, different words.
Don't interrupt me, you got it? You haven't earned that right yet. I don't know you. I think you could be a good agent. But I need to know if you think that. And that you want it badly enough. So you stay in control, and you follow my orders, and I'll decide if you get to be an agent or not. Understood?
You think I can't find out who you are when you're online talking about rounding up freaks just because we're not face to face?
Oh, she's got him on the ropes. Oh, yeah, she's got him on the ropes. Mm-hmm.
Now we're face to face.
Oh, damn, fits with an ISA.
I know they've contacted you.
Okay. Yeah, he's...
So talk.
Like, you can get where Daisy's coming from, but
They're
again,
all
you need
gathered
to
at a place
be
called Easterling Farms. They're
diplomatic
prepping for the
about this
next
kind of
attack.
thing.
Fitz and I have been working on the vaccine from Creel's blood. Now, it would only work on Inhumans who haven't turned yet, but Andrew hasn't finished his transition.
You still have a fighting chance.
Shouldn't we at least try?
Yeah, fighting chance.
No.
You can't kill anyone if he's not Lash.
Don't give me hope, Gemma.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I don't want hope.
Okay. That makes more sense, yeah. Yeah, she said it before Hawkeye. She said it before Hawkeye did an Endgame. Yeah. Is Blake not gonna recognize shield tech like a drone? I mean, it might look different, but still, he might. Surely he's gonna recognize that stuff. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Daisy's powers unleashed. Yeah, Daisy's powers unlocked.
Did you see like I just did?
I'll tell the boss.
Oh, no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. That wasn't Mac. Oh, no. They think Mac's got powers.
We're done.
Yeah, we got it.
No, they think Mac's got powers. That's gonna end really badly. That is gonna end badly. Oh! Oh, nitramine in the neck. Oh no. Oh, is his neck gonna implode?
What's the stuff called? Sodium what?
Hydrogen acetate.
No, his neck's not gonna implode. Okay. Yeah, inject that bitch. Okay. Okay.
Sooner or later, this bomb is gonna go off, and then
Nuh-uh.
implode.
I ain't losing fits. Nuh-uh. Under no.
It's just gonna be messy.
Under no circumstances am I losing Leopold. I am not losing Leopold. I
So
refuse.
here we are. I signed up to protect the world from these dangerous alien elements.
We still do that.
The hell you do. You use them. Unleash them. You've got those freaks working for you.
Oh, God, okay, no, Lincoln.
Hellphil. You are one. We brought the Chitauri to Earth. I was taken out by one of your cybernetic recruits, and the latest and greatest idea? The Avengers created Ultron.
What are you doing, Blake?
Jesus.
We can freeze it.
How?
Please.
Liquid nitrogen. There's we use it in the cooling jet
Liquid
on the containment
nitrogen.
module. There's a panel in the corner.
Is that safe to use on human skin? Not to my
Your
knowledge.
team in Indiana?
He wants to hurt you. Badly. In fact, the only reason he's not is because he's trying really hard to follow my orders.
Yeah.
So,
You can do this, Lincoln. Come on.
I'm changing my orders.
Oh.
What?
What?
Don't hurt Agent Blake. Kill him.
Sir?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Sometimes we do the wrong thing for the right reason because it has to be done.
Oh,
Now
jeez,
take him out.
Coulson.
Oh no. Descent among the ranks.
Oh, it's a hologram. That's why he knew it was never Blake. That's why he was never afraid.
He's a
Yeah.
hologram.
Uh-huh.
He never would have told him to kill the real Blake. Oh, okay, Coulson's good. He's good. I should know that by now. I should know that by now. Yeah. Yeah. Careful. Aim straight for that blobby thing. Aim straight for the blob.
You played it right. Offered a dissenting opinion, but when the time came, you did what I asked. Well, a slightly less lethal version. Well done.
Link did good. He did a good job.
We'd have gone after you instead. What do you mean?
Oh no, they saw Mac do it. They saw Mac do it. And so did Ruben. Oh no, they're gonna go after Mac. I said this would not end well. I said this would not end well. Oh god damn. Oh no. No, top of the stairs. Oh crap. Oh jeez. Okay. Can't sell that on eBay anymore.
We gotta go.
Yeah, maybe it's slightly used.
They're gonna be a problem if we want to get out of here.
I mean, it's only two of them, right? There's two, you two. Oh! 3 of them. Oh! Oh, a meat cleaver. Oh.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
Shotgun axe.
Shotgun axe, yeah. That's what I said, well, cleaver, shotgun, cleaver. There we go. It's like a bayonet, Ugh. Oh, damn it. There we go.
Alfie works for S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's one of the best. You just call him Alfie? Wow.
Alfie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for him to get back from recovery now.
Yeah, she's gonna milk that. Yeah.
Mac,
He's good at it? Saving people?
when I need someone to watch my back, he's the person I want.
He's loyal.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
He's
Still
really
want that
proud.
ride?
Yeah.
Mini Mac?
Mini Mac. Yeah. Yeah, I figured he was like a little brother. I thought he was the little brother of the two of them.
I kept my part of the deal. Now
Oh.
I expect you to keep yours.
Oh, Blake is still in a wheelchair.
I want weaponry.
Our common enemies will be dead, and you'll have troops, armed to the teeth, at your command.
Yeah.
Armed to the
Sounds right.
troops. What kind of troops? Whoa, that's a full-on. That's basically a nuke. What kind of nuke is that? Is that like a nitramine nuke, or but I don't know. It's like a big ass rocket nuke was what initially came to mind. Oh. Okay, shook my head a little bit too hard there. Okay. Yeah, okay, so it was fun seeing Agent Blake back. I did not see that return coming. It was fun seeing Agent Blake back. And yeah, he's the leader of the Watchdogs. He's the leader of the Watchdogs. That I really didn't see coming. But yeah, and I was wondering, like the Watchdogs, I mean, they kind of name dropped them a few episodes back when they were talking about the vaccine and stuff, like, you know, like they showed in the recap, Daisy saying like, oh, you sound like one of those online internet hate groups, the Watchdogs and stuff. So yeah, so like, yeah, like I was thinking, like, you know, like seeing them now, I was like, wow, I was thinking like, wow, they really escalated from being like supposedly from being like an online troll hate group to being like somehow like a weaponized, you know, army of, you know, assholes pretty much. But yeah, no, they're funded by Malik, and that explains them having like nitramine guns and bombs and whatever. And, like nitramine, yeah, I recognize that name right instantly. It's the stuff from Agent Carter. Yeah, Agent Carter. By the way, I am definitely going to be continuing with that show. But yeah, that will be, you know, on the return soon enough. But yeah, nitramine. So that they have a version of that, but it's improved upon. So I think it's like more stable. It's probably stronger now. Like when it imploded, I thought it was shrinking. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's actually like it's like some evil weaponized pimp particles or something. But no, it was actually it still imploded, but to the same way the nitramine works, where it just turns into like a big, super duper heavy, you know, ball of like a chunk of, you know, like material of whatever it, you know, of whatever it implodes. So yeah, so he got his hands on some nitramine and weapons to fire said nitramine from Malik. So yeah, Agent Blake. Well, you know, the Watchdogs. I actually want to talk about the Watchdogs first. So yeah, so the Watchdogs, I mean, the way they're going with this season, the way they're going with the Inhuman storyline is that, you know, the Inhumans are definitely like they're like a minority group in the world. They're a minority group on Earth, and you know, when when minorities exist, you get the majority hating on them. You get the majority being very, very exclusive and very, very hateful and bigoted towards them. So in this one, in this instance, in the context of this particular story, they are definitely, and especially because they're powered people, they are aliens, or at least part alien. You get that like very, very specified level of hate too. And I think especially that line, I think there was like when the guy in the car was listening to the radio, there was that woman saying, you know, oh, first we had to deal with illegal aliens, and now we have to deal with actual aliens. It was like a not so nice little kind of reference to how people, you know, view foreigners in, you know, in the actual real world. So that line alone sent chills down my spine. But yeah, no, like the way we've seen, you know, people reacting to Inhumans in this story, in this show, is enough of a sign, and I think it's very much expected. It's very much expected given how majorities, like, you know, usually react towards minorities in the world. You think, you know, like the Inhumans are definitely a minority. They're definitely a minority. They're definitely like a small percentage of the population. And then when they go, when they become Inhumans, they actually, you know, they like, you know, so some of them, it's just power changes. They just get like additional powers and stuff. Other people actually get physical stuff, physical changes. So yeah, like, you know, I think Lash, you know, got somewhat the better end of the spectrum. I mean, Andrew is still going through his own transformation, so he, you know, for now he can transform as he wishes. But it feels like someone like Raina, who transformed basically immediately, came out of the little husk thing looking as spiky and alien as she did back then. So, you know, yeah, I think to be honest, it kind of makes me curious. Just like, I figure it would lead into a bloodbath, like an actual war. But it kind of makes me curious to see, like what it would have been like had they continued the whole Jiang faction into season 3. Like what it would have looked like if we actually had like a feud or like a war between Jiang's Inhumans and the Watchdogs. Again, it would just be a bloodbath. It would be an actual war. But it makes me wonder, like, what if they had actually gone down that route? What if they had actually kept her and her people alive? I mean, we probably would have gotten Lincoln the way that we do now. We probably wouldn't have, but either way, I think I can't help but think how much more dramatic that kind of a story would have been. Like, like Jiang is actually left alive into season 3, and she still, leads these Inhumans in, and then you got the Watchdogs coming in too. So I mean, like, the story still goes the same way, where more and more Inhumans are actually on the rise and stuff. But yeah, but I mean, with this one, I think when you add, like, with the Inhumans, what makes them different is pretty much their powers. They have these abilities. They were built to be weapons of war, so they have, like, their bodies are weaponized. They are given powers to deal damage that normal humans can't. So you get where the worry, like, comes from on one side, where it's like, okay, so one minute a person is a normal human, the next minute they wake up as an Inhuman, and suddenly they have the ability to bring down buildings with a snap of their fingers. Like, some people might have, so some Inhumans might have that power. So you get where that fear comes from, but then that fear expands and kind of mutates into the fear of just fearing what's different because you don't understand it. So the people who don't bother to understand how and why Inhumans exist and how and why they're a thing, and instead choose to be like, oh, they're just alien freaks, they don't deserve to live, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then obviously with the internet being, the internet, like you get little echo chambers and spaces for, hate groups like the Watchdogs to actually spew their toxic, bullshit and everything, and then that gives people, like, again, like, especially people looking for someone or something to blame, they're given the outlet they need through hatred of Inhumans. So they then build an army that way, and more people join that cause, or at least cheer them on. Like, like with Mac's brother Ruben, like he wasn't like a bad guy. He wasn't inherently bad, but he still he had fears and worries of his own. He needed someone to blame, so he caught on to the Watchdogs forum and shit, and then he could join that bandwagon too. So I think for a lot of it, I think in terms of the higher ups, in terms of people who actually are like a solidified part of the Watchdogs, it is pretty much just them having that fear of the Inhumans without understanding what they actually are. But then the people that they recruit are people literally just looking for something to blame. They're people who don't know who to blame, people who have these kind of misplaced fears and like misunderstood kind of stances that they're like just they're just ducks in a barrel. Like, is it ducks in a barrel? Fish in a barrel. Fish in a barrel. They're just easy pickings for the Watchdogs. The Watchdogs are like a cult that way. They just draw unknowing people in, being like, oh, you need something to blame. You need something to fear. You want to know what the real problem is? It's the Inhumans. Come with us. Let's hate them and stuff. So yeah, so I was wondering, because I think at the beginning it's like they were attacking the ATCU, and it was like a cover, obviously, for that, because they wanted something on the inside to get it out, but then they took down the entire building as part of like a Watchdogs kind of target. But then the way they described it was like, oh, the government is hiding all this stuff from us, and we deserve answers. So it made me wonder if they were purely anti-alien, or if they were if they were like a mixture of anti-alien and anti-government. Because I think, again, like the one of the most common story themes in this season, like getting carried into this season, is the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. is still very much a terrorist thing. Like, it happened way back in season 1. We're now in season 3, and it's still being talked about. The S.H.I.E.L.D. is secretly, the S.H.I.E.L.D. was a terrorist organization. The S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra all along, just waiting for their time to come out of the shadows. So people trust the government less because S.H.I.E.L.D. was such a big thing. S.H.I.E.L.D. was such a supposedly surefire, strongly held type of organization. And then, before you know it, it's like, oh, hail Hydra everywhere. So yeah, like, that kind of stuff makes people trust the government even less. Like, oh, if Hydra was in charge of if Hydra was really behind S.H.I.E.L.D., then what else are Hydra behind? Like, what else is the government trying to feed to us in the form of security and safety, and like, what else are they hiding from us and stuff? So yeah, like that kind of stuff, like it made me wonder if they were really if they were anti-government as well as anti-alien. But I think now, I mean, with Agent Blake in there, like Agent Blake, he had those kind of same arguments, like, you know, oh, I thought I was working for Shield, but really it was just, you know, Hydra behind a mask. It was just Hydra wearing a mask of their own. So he, you know, he blames Shield for a lot of what happened, like in like New York and Sokovia. And, you know, he even mentions Sokovia, like, you know, the most recent thing, like the Avengers decided to create Ultron and everything. So yeah, he blames a lot of what happened on Shield, on alien stuff, that's happened. And I think, yeah, like, I mean, when you think about it like that, I think this show, what this show does, I think not just a lot, but also kind of really well, is that they actually take a closer look at the actual superhero stuff. Like, you know, you watch the movies, and it's like you find out all these different invasions and attacks happening, and then the Avengers are there. And they save the day and then they go home. But then I think they explored it ever so slightly in Civil War. They explored it ever so slightly. I mean, it was like somewhat like a focal point in Civil War, like with Zemo having lost his family to the Sokovia attack and Ultron and the Avengers and everything. And he's like, you know, and the Avengers, they just went home. They just went home and left us to deal with the mess. So like with Blake, it's like, you know, he blames a lot of what, you know, happened on the aliens, and Shield actually even now working with aliens. He's like, you know, you're working with the freaks, you're working with the Inhumans, you've recruited them, and, you know, like Deathlock broke his spine too. He's still in a wheelchair. He was using standing holograms, but he was still in a wheelchair and stuff. So he's not fully recovered. But yeah, no, like the way he talked about that kind of stuff, you just see how far he's like how far he's come from there. Like now he's fully blaming everything on them, and now he no longer considers himself a part of Shield, because for one thing, the Shield he used to work for was a lie all along, and like the Shield now allies itself with the very, very forces of nature that he thought Shield was meant to combat. And I think, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish Coulson and the other characters would actually work harder on convincing people that, like, that S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't just working with the aliens, it's trying to coexist with them, and it's trying to create, like, an environment where coexistence is a thing, and it's possible. But then I remember, it's not just about convincing them, it's about the other people actually being open-minded enough to actually believe that. Like, you know, they hear about S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Inhumans, they watch the news and all that kind of stuff, and they like, you know, like, I mean, the news, it very rarely, you know, like, it's dealing with this Inhuman situation in like a very, very kind of negative limelight. It's talking about attacks that could happen, different, like the Inhuman contagion. Oh, more and more people are coming out as Inhumans every day, and, you know, this stuff is happening, and it never really like there's very rarely ever stories about how, you know, Inhumans might be peaceful, about how there are good people out there, and how all that stuff happens. I mean, fair to say, at this point, it might be a little bit too difficult to do that, because of how the world already reacts to Inhumans. It's hard for someone to actually, you know, come out and actually, you know, open up about being Inhuman without being met with ridicule and, you know, vitriolic comments from left, right, and center on like a 360-degree angle. So, you know, you can't really expect someone to come out as Inhuman unless they actually want to be, you know, nabbed up by the ATCU or nabbed up by Hydra or something. And especially now we got Hydra out there trying to create more Inhumans so that they can actually build up to build up another army for the Inhuman the Hydra thing. So yeah, it's a heavy thing. It's a very, very kind of deep and very, very kind of intricate like lore system that they kind of built within this show, and I love it. I love it. I love how much more they explore this than they do in the movies. I mean, you can't really you can't fully blame the movies, I don't think, because it's clear that the movies and the TV shows had their own paths out for them. The movies didn't, like, I think the one issue I have is that the movies never actually reference the TV shows. The TV shows have no issue. have no issues referencing what happened in the movies, but the movies pretend like the TV shows don't exist and that the movies are like their own thing, when we know it's very much a shared universe. So that's like my one issue. But then you know that, you know, like, you know, there's one person in charge of doing all the movie stuff, and then Kevin Feige is the one in charge of there's one person doing all the TV stuff, I mean, and then Kevin Feige is the one in charge of doing the I mean, he's the president of Marvel Studios, and Marvel Studios, I think, is still pretty much kind of in charge of like headlining the TV stuff, to my knowledge. So I think he does still have a say, but, you know, he has more control over the movies than he does over the TV shows and stuff. So Yeah, but I mean, with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we get a lot closer to references and connections and stuff, you know, them constantly referencing the Avengers and, like, all these different kind of battles and disasters and everything that they're doing. So, yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool to see, but the TV shows, I can definitely appreciate the kind of, the story value and exploration of the TV shows much more than the movies. That much, as of right now, is clear. So, yeah, so that was the Watchdog stuff. Agent Blake. So yeah, so they're like, so Guerra like showed him like a nuke that they picked up or something, like a nuke or some kind of rocket thing they picked up. I'm wondering if that's like a giant nitramine rocket if they picked up. I mean, I don't know if they find. I don't know if they would find nitramine inside the ATCU. They use nitramine to implode the ATCU. But I don't know if they would actually find it inside it. I doubt it. But yeah, so it can't be nitramine. So like just like another like a genuine like a rocket or a nuke or a bomb of some kind. My money's on bomb. My money's on some kind of bomb or some kind of, you know, like a very clearly an explosive weapon. So what exactly Blake is gonna do with that, I'm not too sure. If he's gonna, I mean, he seems hateful and somewhat crazy, but he doesn't seem genocidal. He doesn't seem like he's just, it doesn't seem like he's just gonna try and get the Watchdogs to round up all different Inhumans and then just nuke them off. That would be very, very dark. That would be very, very dark, and I don't think the show is gonna, you know, I mean, as dark as the show has been in the past, I don't think they're willing to go down that particular route. So, yeah, I don't know what he's going to do with that bomb, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But, yeah, that's the Watchdogs and the Agent Blake stuff. So, I mean, yeah, Blake, I mean, yeah, again, it was great to see him. It was really great to see him again. But just seeing how different he is now, seeing how much he was willing to blame stuff on aliens and, you know, like how he used to think that, you know, how he used to think that the job of S.H.I.E.L.D. was to prevent the world from to prevent the world from being destroyed by aliens. Like when you think about it, it wasn't just that they protected from extraterrestrial threats, but by from threats specifically. Like it's not like a thing where they just, you know, they just like, you know, shoot any alien ship entering the atmosphere out of the sky. Like, you know, like stuff like people like Thor and Sif, like they accepted help from them. You know, Captain Marvel, way back when Captain Marvel was the reason that the Avengers were even a thing. Well, I mean, yeah, like she was, I mean, somewhat, kind of. I mean, if it wasn't for Captain Marvel, they would have been named the Protectors instead. And I think we can all agree that doesn't have as much of a nice ring to it as the Avengers does. So, yeah, if it weren't for her, we'd have, you know, Protectors assemble. We'd have that. But, yeah, no, but Captain Marvel was the first ever alien to actually to help them and to help them defeat a massive alien threat, and then that in turn, as we saw in Captain Marvel, made Fury realize that, you know, they have no idea what other threats are out there, but what they do know is that they need to be prepared, you know, in case others decide to actually pick on Earth too. Earth is a notorious target for alien threats. Earth is a notorious target. I wonder if there's actually an alien race out there. If they have their own little pop culture and they make movies about humans invading their planet. If on another planet where life is a sustainable thing with its own kind of civilization and, you know, system and everything, like if they actually have their own little pop culture where instead of like to them humans are aliens, to them humans are aliens. I wonder if there's actually a thing like that out there. But, you know, space is vast. You know, we're still exploring space in all of its glory and beauty. So I don't know, maybe one day we'll meet a race that doesn't want to kill us and, you know, just wants to be probably just wants to be left alone, doesn't really want to colonize too much, or, you know, just like, you know, you do your thing, we'll do our thing, that kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah, anyway, but yeah, so that was Blake. We had Coulson and Lincoln working together for the first time, and that went about as well as you'd expect. I mean, yeah, I think I figured with Coulson, like, he's always felt like a more hands-on kind of guy. He doesn't feel like the kind of guy to trust like a piece of paper or like a computer screen too much. He feels like, you know, it feels more like, you know, if he wants to assess you, he will assess you like firsthand. Like he will actually put you in the field along with him and see how you do things. And that's exactly what it did to Coulson. Like, he read the report, but he was like, you know what, I need further proof. I need actual first-hand physical proof that, you know, he's capable of doing the job and doing the job right and doing as I say and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, and like Lincoln, he's come a long way. He's come a long way from being like a transitioner in Afterlife to now being a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And I think Lincoln himself, he's not like, I mean, I wouldn't say he is S.H.I.E.L.D. material, but then at the same time, I wouldn't say that he's not. I feel like, with enough pep talks and with enough kind of, like lectures maybe, or maybe like enough kind of field testing, he actually could, he could come to understand what S.H.I.E.L.D. really is, what they're really about, and how they really do things and stuff. But, he's kind of used to protecting himself, and he's used to protecting the people he cares about in his own way. He's not really used to, like the last person he followed orders for turned out to be a psychopath. So, it's not exactly, like too much confidence for him to actually just follow someone blindly without actually being told what's going on. So it was interesting seeing that kind of side clashing with Coulson too. So yeah, and then Coulson kind of gave him that kind of somewhat not angry but very very kind of rough pep talk, like you do what I say, you follow the orders I give you, and then we'll just and then I'll decide if you're actually worthy of being on a S.H.I.E.L.D. team or not and stuff like that. So yeah. So that was cool, and then of course seeing him in the actual field with Agent Blake and everything going up against him, and then Coulson knew. Coulson had his like could tell on whether or not Blake was actually real or not. So that's why he actually said kill him, go ahead, kill him, because it's not going to do anything. So yeah, but even that caught me off guard, like him giving like Lincoln that order, like like I mean again, like it wasn't just the fact that he knew Blake wasn't really there, so even if Lincoln did deliver like a killing headshot or something, it wouldn't really do anything because it was a hologram. But the fact that that was Coulson's test, like you have to trust me on this. You don't trust what you see, trust what I tell you, which is somewhat pretty much a blind faith. It's like having blind faith in the leader and trusting that they know what they're doing and what they're saying, but. I think that's the kind of thing that he once he saw that Coulson knew what he was talking about, once he knew that Coulson knew what he was doing, he kind of had somewhat more of a like an understanding of what S.H.I.E.L.D. is and what it's like to work with Coulson and what kind of leader Coulson is. Like once he knows what he's doing, he'll then he'll drop hints to you to like what your orders are after that. So he's not so much of a blind leader, but he's the kind of leader that doesn't really mess around. He doesn't have time to teach you everything. Yeah, he doesn't have time to explain everything to you on the spot. He needs you to follow his orders. He needs you to do what he says, and then just get the job done. So yeah, and then we had Daisy, and Daisy kind of being very very angry with the Watchdogs dude, and not Lincoln Fitz being uncomfortable with the ISO and everything. I mean, Daisy's kind of journey has been a very, very kind of drastic one. She's literally gone from like an online hacktivist to an inhuman, like to a superpowered being working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. So seeing her journey come along here has been really great. But also just in this season alone, in this season, like her like last season uncovering her true self, finding out about her true heritage, and then having to lose both of her parents, one to actual death and another one to a memory wipe, had to have been tough on her. But then she comes through knowing that S.H.I.E.L.D. is her real family, so now she's working fully cooperatively with S.H.I.E.L.D. But I think Daisy still has her own kind of understand, like now that she has a full understanding of exactly what she is and who she is, she kind of sees she's now living in a world that doesn't really fully tolerate people like her. That doesn't really fully accept or tolerate people who are like her, people who have abilities like hers. So living in that kind of a world can't be easy. So she gets, I think, I wouldn't say she's trigger happy. I think she literally just like doesn't really have a lot of patience for people, like to talk to people who would rather see her dead or isolated in some way than they would see her open and free to live as who she is. So yeah, like just seeing her in that position is hard, but then you actually see her getting angry and actually demanding answers and like being not so fully diplomatic, and you get where she's coming from. You definitely get where she's coming from, but you do also like realize the importance of like Max said, the importance of actually being reasonable and responding to like threats like these with some sense of civility and some sense of control. Like if you lash out at groups like that, if you lash out at people like that, you just give them more ammo to weaponize you, to vilify you, and to actually treat you like the monster they think you are. If you actually approach it with a level head and as calm as you can in the face of danger and intolerance, then it's like, I think it's a way of taking the high road that seems very, very kind of, unnatural. Like, you shouldn't have to feel like you're someone who has to take the high road. You should feel like you're allowed to get angry if someone is threatening you and your right to exist. But at the same time, it's like, those kinds of groups have a specialty for stirring up hate and for attracting people to their hatred. So giving them more ammo, again, it's not exactly the best thing to do. Giving them more reasons to hate you and to, sell you off as the enemy for their propaganda isn't exactly, again, it's not the best way to go about things. But she still somewhat held her own. Towards the end, and she helped Fitz get the nitramine blobby thing off of his neck with the liquid nitrogen. I mean, as soon as I mentioned the liquid nitrogen, I was kind of worried, like, that kind of thing, it's not exactly the safest thing to be spraying near your skin, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and it was the only thing that they could actually have within reach that could actually help them. So yeah, and Fitz, I mean, in this one, he was definitely the middleman. Fitz was the middleman this entire episode, just not really knowing who to side with. And then when he didn't side with anyone, one of the sides just picked him. He didn't really side with Mac, he didn't side with Daisy, but then Mac walked away, and then Daisy just picked him, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm on whose team now? Okay, yours? Okay, alright, cool. I'll just, stand there looking intimidating with an ISA and stuff. So Fitz as well. He's a good guy. He's a good un. But yeah, I don't know. Fitz just, I mean, in this episode alone, he seemed very, very uncomfortable, like, with the approach they were taking, and rightfully so. But I think deep down he knew where she was coming from too. But still, just kind of being a part of that, being again, I think he also somewhat understood that, giving them taking this approach would not be in their best interest, since it would actually give them more reason to hate them, because they would just kind of paint it as, oh, the enemy is lashing out, the Inhumans are lashing out, that means they're dangerous and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but he still helped. He still did a great job, and he still survived at the end. So it was all good. Then you had, I think it was like a somewhat more of like a minor aspect to the episode, like somewhat, but we had May and Simmons working together, and Simmons started off, just firing some rounds into a target practice tree, and Simmons with a gun is so cool to see, so cool to see, and really, really cool. Yeah, yeah, she was training with a gun, and she like the loss of Will was still heavy on her mind and her heart. Like, her felt like she just felt helpless, and like the fact that Fitz spent countless times trying to save her, even in the face of imminent death, she just felt helpless. So she felt like she needed to be able to fight back when no one else was around. Like, she didn't want to have to wait around for other people. So I mean, she's held her ground in the past. I mean, to my memory, she has held her ground fairly well in the past. She's kind of she held up in the face of torture at Guerra's hands earlier in the season, and even before that, even like last season, she even actually went forward with trying to kill Ward with the splinter bomb, but then Buck, she got in the way, and he died instead. So that stuff happened, but she I think it still makes sense. Like, she doesn't really have much basic combat training. Like, if they gave her the same combat training as as May has given Daisy, then Simmons could handle herself physically just as much as the rest of them are. But I mean, I think it's also kind of like a thing where, like, if you're, I think it depends on what kind of agent you are. If you're an agent that works more in the lab, then unless there's like a home invasion, then you don't really need to worry too much about knowing how to do stuff. But if you're like a field agent and you actually actively go out into areas of enemy territory, then you actually need to know how to handle a gun and how to how to pick a fight and how to stand your ground in a fight and stuff. So yeah, but then Simmons actually taking her own initiative and actually handling a gun. She knows how to handle a gun. She had her hands gripped around that thing and just firing off bops into the target practice tree and everything. She was handling it. She was handling it with grace and poise and calmness and steadiness and everything. She had it on lockdown. She had it under control. So more Simmons with a gun, please. More Simmons with a gun. May is under the mindset that they need to kill Andrew. That there's no other way to solve this problem. There's no other solution. So her answer is to kill Andrew. So I think, yeah, and then Simmons had to bring up the whole possibility of curing him with Creel's blood as a vaccine, and then of course maybe like, you know, don't give me hope, and then take it away when it doesn't work. Like, you know, I think especially since Simmons mentioned that, you know, they haven't actually tested it on, you know, on transformed Inhumans yet, but, you know, like Lincoln pointed out, that Andrew is still in the middle of his transition. He can transform to and from the forms of Lash and Andrew. So yeah, but then that's like that would be at most and at least a fighting chance. That would be a fighting chance at most. So there'd be no definitive guarantee that if they plug him with that vaccine, it would definitely work, and she'd have Andrew back again. So I think that was her main issue. Not just worrying about whether it would work or not, but then having to worry about what she would do after it wouldn't work. So, you know, it's like you know, like she even said it before Hawkeye. She even said, like, you know, don't give me hope before Hawkeye. I mean, it's not like a Hawkeye exclusive line, but it just reminded me of what he said in Endgame, and, you know, it's under that kind of same kind of concept. Like, you know, don't give me hope in case he gets taken away at the end, and I have to deal with that stress and pain too. So yeah, but I mean, it's like, you know, it's a very, very understandable kind of stance to take. Like, you know, she doesn't know what she's gonna do if, like, the vaccine doesn't work, because again, like, that would be a whole other kind of boatload of pain and stress to have to deal with, and right now killing him seems to be the easier, more surefire option. So how do you kill Lash? How would you kill Lash? I don't know. I mean, because I mean, as Lash, he has super strength and somewhat speed, and also just the ability to literally blow a freaking hole in your chest, so you can't get too close without risking literal certain death. So how would she be able to get near him, like, without risking that? And I mean, he wouldn't kill May. He's still, even when he is Lash, he is still, you know, even somewhat Andrew under there, so he would still recognize May, and he wouldn't really kill her, but he would fend her off still. He would still fend her off by, like, you know, knocking her out or throwing her into a wall or something and just knocking her out that way. And then Gemma, he probably wouldn't still kill. He defended Gemma the first time. So he wouldn't exactly kill her either. But I don't know. How would you kill an Inhuman like Lash? Like, other Inhumans seem somewhat easy, but then, I mean, Inhumans are literally weapons of war. They're not designed to be killed. They are designed to kill. They're literally designed to deliver killing strikes, not to actually, you know, be able to be able to take killing strikes and still stand up, but also to deliver them twice as hard. So yeah, and again, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. taking on this kind of story, this kind of alien race, the Inhumans, like it like, you know, given what they are, what they were meant to be, it's a very, very, very interesting type of thing to do. And I think it was like a short while after having watched the last episode that I actually that, you know, like one of the minister's lines in the last episode being like, you know, oh, there's like a new arms race coming, the arms race for powered individuals. Like, it was then that line actually sank into my head. Like, you know, the arms race for powered individuals. That's what the Inhumans are, and it's definitely one of the ways that the world sees them. They're like not just powered individuals, but actual, you know, weaponized people. So, you know, like an Inhuman doesn't need a gun or a sword or a bomb or anything. Like an Inhuman can be the bomb. An Inhuman can literally be the bomb. So, you know, it's a thing that it's a thing that the public would worry about, but it's a thing that the governments of the world would be curious about and see how can I invest into this? How can I actually use this for my own country's gain and stuff? So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting story to go down. So we had that, and then finally we met the Mini-Mac. We met Mini-Mac, as Daisy ever so eloquently dubbed him as, Reuben McKenzie, Alfie's little brother. I'm definitely gonna call him Alfie from now on. I will think no, Alfie or Mac Attack. I'm gonna stick with Mac Attack. But Alfie is a cute name too. Alfie's a cute name. Alfonso Alfie Mac Mackenzie, even. But yeah, but he has a brother. He has actual direct, like, biological family. He has two parents living in a condo that he helped his brother move them into, and he has a brother that I think he doesn't really live with, but he does kind of visit from time to time on his vacations and stuff, and he builds bikes with him and has beers and steaks with him when he can, when he's not suddenly called away on like a work emergency and stuff. So yeah, but his brother, I thought I recognized the actor for a second, but I think I was mistaking him for someone else. He seemed familiar. He seems like he has one of those faces you just kind of recognize in film and TV. So I was wondering, like, I was wondering if I'd actually seen him somewhere before, but I don't know. I think I could still be wrong. I could still have seen him somewhere else before, but his face seemed pretty familiar, especially like within like the last decade of media and stuff. But he is Ruben. He is Ruben. The guy who plays Ruben. And he was one of those people. He was one of those people who who was afraid and looked for someone to blame, looked for something to blame, and heard all about this stuff in the news. And if he went on the internet and found the Watchdogs and found that they were seemingly providing him with all the answers that he needed, so he didn't really fall in with them, but he did, mentally speaking, he did kind of line up with their fears and their ways of thinking and stuff. So yeah, and then he finds out that his brother is actually working with them. That not only does his brother work with them, he works with S.H.I.E.L.D. too. I figured he would have, like, his brother would have had I felt like Ruben would have had a bigger reaction to Mac working with S.H.I.E.L.D. than he did on Mac working with Inhumans. I think like, oh, you're working with Inhumans? Okay, like I figured that would be one big reaction from him, but then the second one would be like, wait, you're working with S.H.I.E.L.D., the same S.H.I.E.L.D. that was revealed to be Hydra not like a year ago? Like, that exact same S.H.I.E.L.D., like, I figured, like, if he really did listen to the news and, was on the internet, then that stuff would be all over the internet. Like if S.H.I.E.L.D. was real and they were exposed as Hydra, then that, like, Twitter would just be overblown with trending hashtags and stuff. Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is cancelled or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I can imagine that. If S.H.I.E.L.D. actually existed and that whole thing happened in the real world, I can imagine S.H.I.E.L.D. is cancelled, like, trending on Twitter for, like, the rest of the week. I figured that, Ruben would have actually had as much of a shock reaction that he was with S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, I figured he would have that reaction, but then he would never actually believe or, fall for the concept of his brother actually being Hydra. Like, Hydra is, solely like a Nazi organization, at least in recent times. To begin with, it was just like a cult dedicated to an inhuman alien, but then once Red Skull picked it up, it became somewhat more of like a Nazi ideology. So he would never actually believe that, I think he would never really believe that, his brother was actually with Hydra. But I think he might have gone down the path of believing that, he's working for the same S.H.I.E.L.D. that, just literally fell under Hydra's grasp not like 1-2 years ago. So I expected a big reaction from that, but we didn't really get much of one. But they fought their way out. They were trapped in their home by the Watchdogs, and they fought their way out. And Mac got it. That shotgun shit. Stage one of the shotgun axe combo. He just taped like a meat cleaver. I think as soon as he picked up the meat cleaver, I was like, okay, yeah, tape that to the thing, tape that to the end of the shotgun, and he did. So he like that one, he could actually use it as like a bayonet. He could actually use it to fire off some rounds, and then just turn it, like, spin it in his hands and then use it as like a melee weapon and stuff. So a meat cleaver shotgun combo. That is actually, again, like stage one for like a prototype weapon. It's not a bad idea, but I do still want to see him being given like a S.H.I.E.L.D. issued shotgun axe combo with like the shells on the side or something, or like the shells under it. Like I think how do shells? I think it's like shotguns usually have like the red little shells on the side, right? Like lined up on the side. I think I don't know if they actually used them, but I think I do recognize I can visualize that kind of design, because I remember seeing that in different places. Like, you actually have the shells lined along the side, and then you still pump it underneath and still fire off. I don't know if you actually use those red shells, or if it's just decoration. But I know that is like an actual possible design. So you can have that. You can have that on the end of it, and then the actual barrel of it can like extend and mold off into like into the blade of an axe, and you can use that to top it off and stuff. So I mean, it could work. It could work like an actual S.H.I.E.L.D. issued shotgun axe combo. That could work. But But yeah, they fought their way out. And Mac got shot in the arm. Unfortunately, he got shot a couple of times in the arm, but he still made out. He still just like a bullet wound in like a little. Tis just a flesh wound. Tis just a flesh wound. I think that's how it goes. I think it's like a Monty Python quote, like "tis a flesh wound" or "tis a scratch" or something. I don't know. He like the guy just loses his entire arm, and he's like, "Oh, tis a flesh wound, just a mere flesh wound." But yeah, no, he met out. He met out, and then Ruben met Daisy and swapped some cool names with her, and then she dubbed him Minimac, and it was a cool thing. So knowing that he has family, like knowing he has actually like more direct family is really cool, and you know he actually he does try and spend time with them, but then work being S.H.I.E.L.D. Often gets in the way, and he can't have everything he wants. So sometimes he has to compromise, and yeah, but seeing that relationship in this episode being explored just that. I can't talk anymore. I don't know why I can't talk anymore. Like, seeing that relationship being explored in this episode was actually really, really cool. And seeing that he has family was super cool too. So I look forward to seeing what more of Ruben, of Minimac we can actually see. Minimac makes him sound like a burger, like a Big Mac from McDonald's, but like a Minimac. So what would that be, like a cheeseburger? like a mini Mac, like it sounds like a cheeseburger from McDonald's. I don't know, but yeah, it's Daisy's idea. So that is that. But yeah, it was cool to meet Minimac. And yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from this episode. I'm hoping I didn't really miss anything or like, you know, misinterpret any details. But if I did, comments are open. Have at it. Correct me, please. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've picked up from this episode. It was a fun one, super fun one. Very kind of. I think it's. I think as some stories in. I mean, as comic book productions are, as comic books themselves and comic book adaptations are, it's fairly reflective of what people face in the real world and like what real world issues are like. Especially socially, as we can see with the Inhuman stuff going on. So it's good to see that they're still kind of handling that at like a steady, believable, somewhat realistic pace, whilst also integrating comic book sci-fi and fantasy into it. So cool to see they know how to handle their material and execute it in an enjoyable way. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got. So that was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of this episode and what you think might be coming up next time in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.